Greetings, Japan fans. In today's show, we are going to look at where leaders should be putting their priorities. Maishu, arigatou gozaimasu, and welcome back to the 7th year of the Leadership Japan series. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, your corporate coaching and training guy committed to your success. The president of Dale Carnegie Training Japan, a best-selling author, Japan Sales Mastery and Japan Business Mastery. My new book, Japan Presentations Mastery, is going to be released shortly. We are broadcasting around the world from Minato-ku in the center of Tokyo, the leadership capital of Japan. Now, this podcast brings insights, examples, and experience about leading in Japan, and trust me, it is different here. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn, who, unlike many other podcast hosts, have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on iTunes. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Tuesdays, the Presentations Japan series. Every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show. And Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Before we get going, today's handy Japanese phrase is tonoshikatta. So this means, did you enjoy it? For example, if you went to see a movie and you want to ask, did they enjoy the movie? You could just ask, this is a very casual conversation, of course. Just say, tonoshikatta, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta. Or you could be out having a meal, have a nice steak, a nice red or something, nice evening out, and you could just say, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta. Did you enjoy yourself? Was that good? Did you enjoy yourself? Tanoshikatta. Any time like that, an event, enjoying something together, you want to ask people if they had a good time, they enjoyed themselves, just say, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta. This is episode number 416, and we are talking about shareholder, customer, employee. Whose interests should leaders prioritize? Shareholders put up their future security in the hope of increasing their returns and adding further to their security. They take risk of losing some or all of their dough. CEO remuneration is often tied to how well they increase value for shareholders by driving the share price up and paying out regular fat dividends. Customers buy the product or service, so without them being enthusiastic, the scale of the revenues will fail, and so will the share price and dividends. Without engaged employees, the customer won't be satisfied with the quality of the solution or the service provision. If you don't care about the company, then you're unlikely to care about the firm's customers. These interests are not always aligned, so where does the leader need to assign attention? There is no business without a customer. And the reason you have customers is because your staff makes sure you have repeater customers rather than single transactions. CEO attention, however, is not always focused on the staff. They can see the staff as a tool for arbitrage in order to get more revenues, the pay them low and charge them high type of mantra. The USA has confused the world with its up to 300 times ratio between the CEO remuneration and the lowest paid employee. The fact that many failed leaders of big corporations get hundreds of millions of dollars when they are forced out is also astonishing. I don't see that as a sustainable model for Japan. As leaders here, We need to be focused on recruiting and retaining the best team members we can afford. Recruiting them will only become more fraught in Japan, and retaining them will be ever challenging. The way to attract people is by having very deep pockets and paying tons of dough to the staff. If that isn't an option, then we need to build a culture where staff will trade money for the environment. Getting paid a lot of money to work in a toxic environment isn't sustainable, and eventually people crack and look for a better environment to work in. How can we engage our staff so that they don't want to leave? And while they are with us, they want to work hard for the enterprise and want to support each other in that process. Gallup's 2021 survey in the US found that 36% of staff are engaged, 50% were either indifferent or compliant, and 14% were disengaged. Japan is hard to judge with these Western surveys. Japanese staff are conservative in their estimations because they're always thinking in absolute rather than relative terms. Also, questions such as, would you recommend our company as a place to work for your friends or relatives, have a lot of cultural issues in Japan that we don't have in the West. Find out more. We come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public programs, but we also do custom-made in-house classes. Now, we do them in our super safe classroom, we do them live online, and we do them in Japanese, and we do them in English. Today's show is brought to you on the 25th of June by our Professional Leadership Series. We're looking at the evaluation process. 2nd of July, we're going to be looking at handling mistakes, and on the 6th of July, we're going to be looking at motivational leadership. You can find out more about those programs on our website at enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, the Bible for Selling in Japan, and Japan Business Mastery, as well as my new book, Japan Presentations Mastery. If you like learning by watching videos, we have over 1,000 for you there on Japan Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's a premiere business show in Japan, comes out Mondays. Fridays we have Japan Business Mastery Show. Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders in Japan from SMEs all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. Don't forget, you can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. This is one of those key engaged or disengaged decider questions in these surveys. Japanese staff don't want to take the responsibility in either direction. They don't want their friends complaining to them about the company they have now joined. They also don't want to have the company complaining to them about their friend they have just introduced. Better to give this question a low score. Overall, Japanese surveys are always at the bottom globally, but is that really an accurate reflection of the workforce? What do staff want? Here is what we found from our surveys looking at the emotional drivers of engagement. Number 1 was they want the leaders to have a sincere interest in the employee's well-being. The key word here is sincere. This means taking a holistic view of the employee and not seeing them as an arbitrage opportunity or a tool to spoon up more revenues. Another key phrase is well-being. In this modern age, employees are taking responsibility for their kids, but also for their parents as the latter age. That means they need a supportive work environment that puts health, and family health above company health. Sounds sensible. But is that the case down at your shop? As the leader, is that how you are talking and making decisions? Is this an approach that is sustained right throughout the enterprise from top to bottom? Are all the leaders walking the talk, starting with you? There's much more required beyond mere words and slogans to make these approaches the daily reality. Coaching and communication skills for leaders will rank at the top to encourage staff to believe what the company is saying. How would you rank these two skill sets across your leadership bench? If it isn't where it needs to be, what are you doing about it? Everything is related to everything else. So it needs a complete solution rather than a fragmented result. How's it coming along? Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan series. If you found the program useful, then share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Take what you found valuable, immediately put it into action, because idea application is what makes winners winners. Be one of them. Remember, I'm your corporate coaching and training guy in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.